yet. So that we're going to do it step by step and add that later.
Kai, could you go to ahead?
Yeah. A few more slides. Well, these are the basic parts. It's now just putting it together. So you have a template, and we want to extend it a bit, and here we've added an extra header. And then you can define an extra value in your record, which you'll call a header. And if it's there, you'll get an extra header in your page. And that's this extra piece of code. And that's slightly more efficient than an either, because this is a nice mathematical construct. If there is no header, it will take any that is true, any that has a value. So if there is no header, it will take the empty string. So that's really a very elegant mathematical way of writing that shortly. So yeah, we can extend the template, and we can extend the data records, and then you suddenly have a header. It's also customary on web pages to have a footer, so we can add a footer the very same way. And the footer is usually about what it's powered by, and this is powered by Boron, but that's clear. And this is also powered by the Cheyenne web server. So we have a header and a footer, and I made the context evaluation such that if you define a header and a footer once, from then on it will be used in all the next pages. So we're stuck with them from now on. But if you go back to the early pages, they're unchanged. So from then on, you get the headers. Yeah, header and footer. So then to see how this is made, you have to see how the static pages are created. And then you need to read the database, and we already saw that as an example. You just load it from the file where it's in. And then when you've loaded it, you have it in a rebel structure in memory, and then you have to iterate to get each record. You can do that with a for each construct, and this means that, this loading of the presentation can be nested, and you don't need any brackets. You can use round brackets for precedence to make it clearer if you're learning Rebel, but you don't have to. And it scans the expression to see what it should evaluate first. So here it sees that the for each is not complete yet. The for each is complete when here it has a sub-expression. It can load this thing. And then it has the loaded database, and then for each has two parameters, a page and a data structure. And then for each is complete, and then page can iterate over the records. And then within the body of that for each, you have to write your code. Now we're going to see how we want to write that code, because in that code we have one record and we want to fill it into the template. And now it's getting interesting, because that's a case of scope and context and binding. Because we have a template, and it's only one template because we want all pages to look the same. That's the point of a content management system. And then you want, for each page, you want the record data to appear in the template. So the template is a sort of context, and you want to bind it to the record. So there are a few steps to this. I already said that the header and the footer, once they're defined once, they will stay the same. And I'm doing that by defining header and footer as none, also null and nil in other languages. None is nothing, it's a little bit more normal English. And you can cascade this, so you can use the same none to set two symbols to none. So at the start of the program, I set the header and footer to none, and that means the default global context. So once there is one record with a header or a footer, it will stay that way because it's in the global context. And then this is more intricate, because if you have the same template and you bind it to each record, and a record is not complete, it doesn't have all the fields, then the template is already bound to the previous record, so you have to reset that. Otherwise you'll get the content from the previous record will still be bound to your template. So to clear that, we define a context especially for clearing a record. And that is done by the context word. And a context is really the same as an object in Rebel and Boron. So you can read object here if you're used to that in other languages.
You should really make an effort.
Yeah, a few pages.
Oh.
So this binding is important. So I'll after this, only 2 more slides, I'll skip through it. So you have a special context for cleaning the template, and then you have to make the record, which was read in the page word, you have to make that into a context, and then you can bind the template first to the clearing context to clear the old values from the previous record, and then you bind it to the page which holds the current record, and then you have a template that is bound to the current record and that can simply be sent to the web browser. And if I wanted to show this, I would have to go into the filer, so I'll stop here. So this is it.
Okay. Dat was het?
Ja.
Ja, thank you. And this interpreter was written by you? It's the Boron interpreter?
No, the Rebel is written by Carl Sessenrath for the last 13 years in his company. The team has worked on it. Boron is by Carl Robillard alone. And he's also American.
Okay.
And I'm just integrating it into Simple. Vraagt ja, maar ja, er zit geen jaar op. Ja, dat was in de eerste presentatie.
Inderdaad.
Ik zou eigenlijk ook over server gaan. Ja, om het uit te leggen is het toch voor de helft over desktop gegaan.
Oké. Nee, het is ook wel mee op Pinterest al.
Ah, het gaat wel langzaam de laatste tijd. Ik ben zelf ook met andere dingen bezig die urgenter zijn. Dus ik hoop dat ik aan het eind van het jaar weer wat met desktop te kunnen gaan doen.
Sung, ben je hier via Herman?
Nee, ik had